Hi, I'm Todd, and I hope you're having a great day. If you're looking for a visual parametric style EQ with many features to rival FabFilter at an incredible value, the new upgrade to Hornet's TotalEQ Mk2 is worth checking out. I've loaded up TotalEQ Mk2 here with Plugin Doctor so we can see what's going on. Now, there's general controls here for bypass. We get a link I/O. Now, each I/O here for input and output individually adjustable. We can double click and it returns them to 0. I really like that. The link I/O just gives us where we lower the input, it raises the output, and vice versa. Again, nice feature to have. This EQ loudness, what that actually does is adjust the perceived loudness. We'll check that out in audio later on. And the idea is for A/B testing, it's going to balance out the overall effect of the EQ for perceived loudness. So great for A/B. And then also we get different controls here. For example, for phase, if I go to this and flip the phase, you can see it actually did flip the phase evenly here to what we wanted. Then there's also a global analog and saturation control here. We can apply that to all bands. And an auto EQ function if you like to have it set a bunch of bands up for you, somewhere to get started. Maybe you want those functions. Nice to have it here. I don't personally use that, but available in Mk2. Now, to add a band, you just click twice here. It's going to go ahead and add a band up. Switch back here to frequency. And you can see here, basically, it's just doing what's showing us here on the analyzer. Now, to adjust this, we can click individually on it. It lets us set the type of filter we want. There's various low, high pass filters, shelves, bells, band pass, all pass, tilt. So a lot of options here, pretty much what you need. When this is open, you can adjust the Q here. Simply, I'm using the scroll mouse. You can also manually type in each of the parameters for frequency, gain, boost, and cut here, as well as for the Q. Now, if we go ahead, we've got a solo function for the band. There's a mute function as well as extra features. Now, in here we have per band analog and per band saturation. See, when I clicked analog, it added here just there's a slight split in between here, and so that's going to give us perhaps some of that analog flavor. Saturation control, if I go over to harmonics, turn that on. As I turn it up, you'll see it's boosting one additional harmonic here. So this isn't going to add a lot of harmonics and really thicken your sound up, but it is going to give you some of that sort of flavor. Also, you have per band dynamic processing. So for all 36 available bands that you can add, you can enable dynamic EQ. Lets you have an auto mode if you want the algorithm to take care of that for you, or you can set threshold, attack, and release. So a lot of functions available on here. Let's go ahead and check out some audio. Listen to the EQ. I've got a couple of mixes, drums, bass, and acoustic guitar here. Okay, so let's just check out on drums only. I can see the auto EQ is going to listen to the music and it's going to come up with a number of bands here. Again, this isn't a feature I normally use, but if you want some to help you get started, this can just give you an idea of what the algorithm thinks would be the right moves. Now that I spent some time with this EQ, I'll give you my thoughts, and there are pros and cons. First of all, on the pro side, a lot of features. You really get flexibility here, whether you want to use this on individual tracks, buses, on your mix. You got all the filter options you could really need here. Dynamic EQ up to 36 bands. I mean, that really gives you a lot of flexibility. The downside of that is it's a lot of flexibility. You can really get into the weeds here and spend a lot of time trying to dig for individual frequencies and minor saturation adjustments that may or may not be all that integral to the mix. So just something to consider here. But in terms of the features, I like that it has mid-side and stereo processing. Going to be very flexible for a lot of your use cases here. The visual control is clean and easy to use. Functions in terms of switching your bands off and on, adjusting the features on them. Pretty intuitive once you start working with it. It would have been nice maybe to have some little in-context help screens, so when you hover over something, it would give you a little more information about what's going to happen. but overall I think here it is usable once you get into it. Cons, again, when you have so many functions and features here, it can take you away from listening and turn it into a visual experience. Now, some of you like that more, some of you don't like that so much, but just something to consider here. There's constant updates going on to this version. There are a few bugs in Logic and Studio One to begin with. It looks like Severio is working those out, so that's great to see. Plugin's on sale at the time I'm recording this, and I think it's a pretty great value for what you get. So I encourage you to check it out. I've thrown a link in the description below for that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're looking for more EQs or ideas for plugins to use in your studio, check out one of the videos on the screen. It's been great having you here today, and I'll see you next time.